So, hello everyone, and welcome back to the mini interview series we are doing from the data platform Women in Tech group with women who are going to be presenting at the SQLBits conference, which is going to happen between the dates of March 14th and 18th of this year at Wales. If you are looking for a good data conference to go to, you should check this out. Our guest for today is Lisa Hoving. From the Netherlands. She is going to be speaking on Azure Databricks or Azure Synapse Analytics, when to use what. The dates and timings here are on my time, whatever the session I think showed for me. She's going to be there in person. So if you want to attend her class, please check out the time that work for you if you're a remote attendee or attending in person. Our episode sponsor is Joe Fleming, Taylor Consulting. Joe runs a remote DBA consulting shop. If you have any more DBA needs, consider reaching out to him. He is donating $20 for every guest we interview. Girls Who Code. Thank you, Joe, for the sponsorship. All right, let's get started. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Lisa Hoving. As I mentioned, I'm based off the Netherlands, so I'm a Dutchie. My background is actually in finance, so I've studied finance, but I found data to be much more interesting. So I was lucky enough to become a data engineer. And actually at this moment, I am the lead data engineer for a smaller company based in the Netherlands as well. What we do there is we help customers in migrating to the cloud. So we help customers in deciding what is the right tool set for them, for their data journeys, for their projects. And we implement these projects as well. And for these customers, I usually do the data engineering part. So I'm lucky to have colleagues that can do data science or data analysis, but my main focus is data engineering. So I'm really happy with that.
Absolutely. Data engineers are the best.
Yes, I switched so from being a DBA to a data engineer 5 years ago, and I have zero regrets.
Oh, wow.
I did accounting for about 10, 12 years, and so finance stuff, and I'm much happier not doing accounting. Data's much better.
I think it's very similar to the finance that I studied. Yeah, yes. I like a more technical role as well, yes.
So is this your first time speaking at BITS?
At SQLBits, yes. And actually for me, it's also the first big conference that I'm doing abroad, because obviously I live in the Netherlands and SQLBits is in the UK. So in Wales, and I haven't been to Wales yet. So I'm really excited to go and to be there and to meet everybody. So really looking forward to that.
Me too. So tell us a little bit about your session.
Yeah, so my session is about Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, and Azure Synapse Analytics. And more specifically, we're going to focus on when to use these tools. So when to use what, basically. So my title is quite functional. It's not that sexy, but yeah, so when I came up with the topic, as I mentioned, we help customers migrating to the cloud. One of the questions that I get most often asked is, hey, we have these really big data processing tools on the Azure platform. We have Azure Data Factory, Azure Databricks, and Azure Synapse Analytics, but what tool is really right for my use case? And it's quite a difficult question to answer as well, because these tools really overlap in functionality. But you still want to make the right decision for your use case from the get-go. So how do you really know what tool is right for you? How do you decide on that, right? So what we do in this talk is we're following a use case. So I've just made up a fictitious person and he has a use case. I've called him Henk because Henk is one of the most generic Dutch names that you can find. So I thought that was a bit funny. And then we just go
through kind of like the US equivalent of Bob. Bob.
Yes.
Bob. Or John.
Bob or Joe or something. Yeah.
Yes.
Hank.
I think that's
all right.
true.
Can't wait to meet Hank.
So we're going to meet Hank. But the funny thing is, I've given this talk quite a few times in the Netherlands now, and I've never found somebody that raised his hand and was like, hey, my name is Hank. Is it about me? So it's like quite unfortunate, but also a bit funny, I would say. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
hopefully at Bits you can find somebody named Hank in your audience.
I think there's quite a fair amount of Dutch people there, so that might actually happen. Yeah. So if you're going to SQLBits and your name is Hank, please go to my talk, and yeah, we can talk about Azure Data Factory, Databricks, and Synapse.
What sort of
I do the same
you
thing. I
think-
like to have a use case, some sort of story that you're telling about
Yeah.
your talk and
stories
why
work
it's
great.
important.
Yeah.
Yes,
I agree.
What sort of audience do you think would gain from your talk? Is it going to be beginners? Is it going to be people with some level of experience, or what would be the ideal audience for you?
I would say probably the ideal audience or the people that would benefit the most are people that, need to make a decision between these tools or are just interested in what is the differences in functionality and when do you use what. But then again, I do try to make, the potential audience quite broad. So I would say if you're acquainted with the Azure platform, but maybe not necessarily with data, then you should easily be able to follow, the session. Or if you're very acquainted with data, but not really on the Azure platform, so you don't really know what tools to use for what use cases, then I think this will also be a perfect topic for you. But then again, I've had friends say that have no interest in tech at all, and they say, "Oh, I could quite easily follow your session as well." So I think, it's as long as you explain it well and people can ask questions, then
That's
make it fun.
great. That's great that people who are not in tech are able to follow. I think explaining tech in simple terms is a real art to people.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a big skill to have.
Jargon and yeah.
Yeah, it can be very complicated to make things simple, right? So, but I do my best. Yeah.
So what's a fun fact that you want to share with us?
Yeah, I did see the question, of course, on the email. I always find it so difficult to find a fact about me that is interesting enough to make it notable. But one of the things that I try to do, at least for the year 2023, a fact that people don't know about me is that I'm autistic and I have ADHD. So during my talks, I always try to make like a calm atmosphere for people to really be able to express themselves in a way that works for them. So if you want to ask me a question on Twitter because you don't feel comfortable asking me in person, that's totally fine. Or if you prefer to stand during my session instead of be seated because you feel, a bit anxious, then that's also totally okay. Or if you just want to, ask a question during my talk, everything goes as long, as it's in a safe space. So this is something that I'm truly passionate about and really want to share with people. So
that is
yeah.
amazing. So we do a mental health day every year from the Women in Tech group. It's the only day-long event we've done that seems to be getting a lot of interest in the community because the virtual exhaustion is so high. Would you be interested in speaking at our event too in sometime in spring? We really like people who can speak to these issues. It's helpful.
Of course, if I can add to anything, that would be wonderful. Yes.
Yeah, we'll reach out when we get ready for it. That's
Thank you
amazing.
so
That'd
much.
be great.
Sure,
Yes,
of course.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you planning on wearing a costume to the SQLBits party?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the invitation to the party yet. I don't know. I would have to see how I feel on the day.
I get that. I'm excited. I'm gonna do a Dungeons and Dragons thief theme, like all black with a hood, and I'm really
That's
excited.
really cool. That's
Thanks.
really cool. Yeah.
I'm excited.
So you're going in person then, Leslie?
I am.
Oh, so cool.
Yes. I missed the call for speakers, but all my speaker friends are going, and it sounded like such a great event. And so I just decided to send myself. So here I come.
I think that's perfect. Actually, it's so nice to join conferences and not speak every now and then. It's a very relaxing experience, I think.
This is the first time in years that I haven't spoken at a conference I'm attending. And I'm super excited. I'm like, oh, I don't have to stress and I don't have to like prep. I can just go and enjoy myself. I'm super excited.
I did that at
really
FAST for years and years and years. It was fun. I never had until Ben gave me new stars of data. I never felt like anything I said would benefit a big group of people. I never had that kind of confidence at all. mean, I didn't have stage fright exactly. I just didn't think I had anything to say that would interest the people at a conference. So I went for many years when I was running the chapter for nearly 21 years. I attended PAS and I was not a speaker anytime. And it was a blast.
I went to Data Scotland, last year, and I didn't speak, but I had the greatest time there, just to enjoy the atmosphere and just to be in Glasgow, and it was really amazing. So yeah,
I really think that the conference setting really allows people to connect and make friends and have those interactions that are really meaningful, more than you can do in a virtual setting.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So
yeah.
So I can't wait to see. So I have to ask, why are you lizard 8? Do you have lizards? Do you like lizards?
Well, it started as a friend, like a joke that a friend made, but I actually own a pet python. Okay. And I sometimes do, talks about building data lake for my pet snake, which I always think is very funny.
Now you said there's no fun fact about you. That's
a fun fact.
That's more than fun. Oh my gosh, a python for a pet.
Yeah, so his name is Fluffy, so it's just a pun, like the lizard 08. Yeah.
So on Twitter, Sequel Girl, she has a dog named Numby and a dog named Pandas, and so she tweeted something out the other day about having to clip Numpy's nails, and somebody was like, "Well, I was really excited about a new module feature."
That's so funny.
It is funny. So yes, you're not the only one that has animal related stories that you can share.
I don't know of anyone in SQL family who has a Python, though. That you may be unique there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it before, but if we code Python, why wouldn't we have a Python, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. That was what I thought.
Is there a chance we can see the Python? We can.
Actually not at home right now. I'm at the office, so I can't bring him.
Yeah.
You don't bring your Python to work?
I know, right? Just have him crawl around,
Yeah. How long is he?
He's a bit over a meter tall, but I don't know how much that would be.
3 feet.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right.
But it's not
we won't be bringing him to bits either, will you?
Snake, he could be 3 centimeters as far as I'm concerned. I keep my distance with snakes.
He's very friendly, I promise. I mean, his name is Fluffy, right? So He has to be.
How dangerous can something like Fluffy be?
Of course, yeah.
Does he recognize you? I mean, does he know who you are and such?
I think so, but maybe more by smell or by, how I present myself, because they don't really have good eyesight per se. So it's more on the smell that they navigate, so to speak.
You keep him in a cage?
A terrarium, actually. So I have a custom built terrarium specially made for him at the house. So he keeps nice and warm always. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I can't wait to see you in person.
Yeah.
I think we're at like 45 days or something. It's pretty close.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Yeah. Really excited.
Yes, me too. Bye. Thanks again.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.